Welcome back, Beyond the New and all that jazz. It's time to haul the books that I've gotten in the last few months. These are mainly Illumicrate books, or there's one book here that got sent by publishers, and then there's a couple of things that finally came from pre-orders from last year that have finally arrived. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into this, shall we? So first up, Penguin Teen sent me Snow and Poison by Melissa de la Cruz. This is supposed to be like a more historical fiction-y retelling of Snow White, and it just sounded fun. It looks super short, so like it just sounded like it would be a fun time. It's about something about Bavaria. I don't know, but for some reason just like a Snow White retelling just sounded like it'd be a lot of fun right now. Here's hoping it actually is. Then this is the only book that I've really bought myself recently, and that is Smolder by Laurell K. Hamilton. This is book 29 in the larger Anita Blake world, and I recently just talked about this in my April wrap-up, and it was good. Like, it was really fun to be back with my baes from the Anita Blake world. I haven't read an Anita Blake book in a year or two now since Raphael came out, but this one set up like a cool murder mystery, like some vampire mystery where vampires are being left out in the sun to die, and we never really did anything with that mystery in this book, so it almost felt like it was supposed to be like a longer book because it is pretty short for Anita books these days. I felt like it was supposed to be a longer book that was split in half because book 30 is also being released in November. And so I'm curious, like maybe we just split a longer story into two books so that we could have the book 30 come out on the 30th anniversary of the series, which whatever, it's fine, but it's not like the best of the Anita Blake books. And those are the only two like standard books I have. Everything else is going to be special editions, mostly from Illumicrate. So let's jump in. So first up we have Lies We Sing to the Sea, and this is by Sarah Underwood. I really don't know anything about this. I think it's like a Greek-ish tale where people get sent to an island to be sacrificed to something. I have no idea. But it is a beautiful Illumicrate edition with some really nice foiling and kind of like a unique, it almost has like the texture of books that have the image printed straight on the front of it. And also, recently Illumicrate and Fairyloot have been doing some really cool stuff with like gilding on the end pages. So yeah, I mean, I haven't heard literally anybody talk about this. So I don't know if it's good, if it's terrible, if it's whatever. But I really need to do one of those challenges where I go through and I read like the first chapter or two or the first 50 pages of a bunch of the Illumicrate books that I have, and then maybe do an unhaul. Because I have quite a few Illumicrate books and I think I've only ever touched like maybe 2 or 3 of them. Anyways. Then I also got a copy of Empress Crowned in Red by Ciannon Smart, whatever. This is the book that goes with Witches Steeped in Gold. And I know that people are very hit or miss on Witches Steeped in Gold. I really don't know anything about it. It just sounded cool and I really wanted the matching set, and somebody was selling it for like 20 bucks. So now I have it. Self-control, who is she? Who knows? Whatever, it looks cool. Hopefully it's good. If not, I have the set and I can always resell them, theoretically. Then I got Some Desperate Glory by Amelie Tesh. This is another one that I know very little about. It's something to do with, like, I think people are living on some kind of space station above Earth, and so something is happening. It's very sci-fi, and sci-fi is not usually my jam. I also haven't heard anybody really talking about this book, like, at all. So I have no idea. But the end paper art is really cool. The end pages are, like, the sprayed edges are really cool, but I don't know. It says on the front, while we live, the enemy shall fear us. We are what's left. We are what must survive. So it seems like maybe it's like humans did something to the earth and now we're trying to survive in space and something's out. Who knows? I don't know, but do you like how little I know about the books that I have? You're welcome. But at least the last 4, I have read every single other of these books. So who is she? You're welcome. So first up, I did pre-order last year the Broken Binding editions of The Roots of Chaos. So we have Priory of the Orange Tree. It's just the standard dust jacket, nothing really special there, but the specialness comes from underneath the dust jacket. So let's strip her. So here we have all this beautiful foiling all the way around, and then we have Come On with these end pages. So Priory of the Orange Tree is a fantasy standalone. If you like slower burn political fantasy mixed with kind of traveling adventure fantasy. It's like an interesting mix, which is I think why it doesn't always click with everybody, because people tend to like one or the other. And then people who want like purely political fantasy, it's not enough of that, because then when you start getting further in this book, we start getting kind of a faster paced adventure story. And so I don't know, I get why it doesn't totally jive with people, but if you like multiple like nationalities and their kind of relationships with dragons being vastly different, if you like kind of slower burn sapphic romance subplots, if you just like dragons everywhere and trying to get disparate communities and countries to come together to face a common threat, and then you want just an epic dragon fight at the end that feels almost like, I don't even want to give it away, but it is just a fun ass time. So I would highly recommend if any of that sounds good to you. And then I also have the standalone prequel. So this is A Day of Fallen Night. And similarly, the dust jacket is the same as the typical dust jacket. And then it's underneath where Priory was done in silvers. This one is blue on gold. Yes. And then of course, come on. Yes. But I think that where Priory has more of like an adventure-ish plotline, I think that Day of Fallen Night stays more evenly paced, and more like interpersonal communications and like the political stuff I think is a stronger driving force in Day of Fallen Night. But Day of Fallen Night is set 500 years before the events in Priory. I think maybe it's slightly better. I think the characters are a little bit better. We get to see a little bit more of the world, and I liked Day of Fallen Night better, but I don't know if that's because I already had context for this world from Priory or what have you. I don't think that either one kind of spoils anything for the other. I think you could kind of read them in whatever order you want. And Samantha Shannon is trying to set this up as a series of standalones. So she has 2 more that she has like ideas for, but I think only 1 more of those she has like signed. But they are both fantastic. And I know a lot of people, for whatever reason, keep kind of putting off these series because the books are chunky, but they are so good and they're standalones. So you just read one 800-page story, it's a complete thought, and then it's done. So unlike when you're reading something like Brandon Sanderson, where it's a series of 1,100-page books that all you have to read them in order, and then you're really committing to a lot, with Day of Fallen Night and or Priory of the Orange Tree, it is its own fully contained story in 800 pages. And it's super satisfying. They are so much fun. If you like dragons, there are dragons everywhere. There are Western-style dragons, 4 legs, big wings, all of that. And there are also Eastern-style dragons where they have like the more sinuous snake-like bodies. And they have different relationships to either star or like fiery earth magic. And there's conflict between the types of dragons, conflicts between the countries. There's hidden mage orders. Like, it is just so good. Read it. Read it. Then, finally, I got, in this last little chunk of time, my friggin' pre-order of the Dragonsteel edition of Tress of the Emerald Sea. If you know, this was my favorite book from Q1. I talk about it in my Q1 faves and least faves, and I also have a individual spoiler-free review for Tress, and I have a spoiler-filled chat for Tress. So I will link all of the things for you in the description down below if you need more info about Tress. But this is the beautiful Dragonsteel edition that you got for pre-ordering. I think there's also some that are available still from the Dragonsteel website if you wanted to go buy just the hardcover. And there's interior arts that are either fully colored or there are some that are just two-toned. And then the really cool thing is that these chapter headings have to do with the sea that they're on. There are different colors of seas in this book that I won't spoil anything for, but as you're in the seas and you're progressing, the chapter art gets more and more intricate, and then it will change colors and have different kinds of art around the chapter numbers when you're on the different seas. And it is just so good. And I will say that this book feels very nice, but it feels like it would give you a deluxe reading experience. It opens pretty nicely. I feel like if I wanted to, like, it opens almost flat pretty easily. And it's the kind of like nice deluxe edition that looks beautiful, but it also isn't so beautiful that you're like scared of touching it or reading from it. I think that this would just give you like a delicious, rich experience to read from. And so that's really nice because I love sprayed edges and stuff, but I feel like weird reading from books with beautiful stenciled spray edges because I'm just worried of like damaging the art on the pages. Whereas something like Tress, I feel like that's very readable. And then I saved my favorite one for last. And so this is the beautiful Illumicrate edition of Song of Silver, Flame and Ignite by Amelie Wen Zhao. And just, oh, yes, these color combinations, these edges, and then you're not ready. Just wait. If we take her off, that was supposed to be like stripper music, but it it didn't go very well. Boom! Look at this naked hardcover art. Come on. Illumicrate popped off with this one. It's so good. And then I also read this book. I buddy read it with Elle earlier this year. And it is just a fantastic story. If you like martial arts feeling type lore, if you like kind of rising against the evil empire tropes, but done in a kind of cool way, if you like romance subplots, but that feel like fleshed out and you kind of feel for these characters, if you like kind of moral quandaries where you're not sure which side is right and like the character does terrible things, but you're also like, I kind of get what you're doing and I don't necessarily disagree because of the situation that you're in. If you like any of that stuff, Song of Silver, Flame Like Night is so good. So good. It has ancient Chinese folklore with the different animals associated with the cardinal points of the compass. It has cool like demons. It has cool like martial arts magic where you see people like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon style, like jumping up cliffs and stuff with their almost like chi powers. It is just a lot of fun and surprisingly dark. It is classified as young adult, but I would definitely say it's much on the older young adults age range. Almost new adult, but the characters are young, but they're not like annoying young. There's not like the pining angstiness that you kind of associate typically with like subplots of romance in young adult. It is just so good and more people need to read it. But those are the books that I have acquired in the last like 2 or 3 months, and mainly from Illumicrate because my mom had subscribed me to Illumicrate. So thanks, Mom. And I think that is all that I have accumulated. If not, if I find more things, I will haul them in a future haul. But have you read any of these books? Have I convinced you to read any of these books? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you just want to leave an emoji, maybe leave a tiger or a turtle. A tiger, turtle, bird, or dragon, your choice for Song of Silver, Flame Like Night. And please let me know if you have any beautiful books that you have acquired in the last couple months that you just are excited about and you want to talk about. Please let me know in the comments down below. But that will do it for today's video. So please like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already for more bookish shenanigans like this from moi. Other than that, I hope you have a great rest of your day and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!